Hi everyone! So today I am actually sitting in a hotel room and I am getting ready to go to the kickoff party for PyTennessee, which is held every February in Nashville, Tennessee. And it's held over a weekend and it's something that I've been going to every year for many years. So some people ask me, should I go to a regional conference? And my answer to that is yes. So that was easy, end of talk. But anyway, what is a regional conference for people that may not know that these things exist? A regional conference is basically a conference that is serving a smaller geographical area that for me I'm defining as not a country. So PyCon US, that is a national conference. PyCon, Python, like PyTennessee, Gotham, Ohio, those are regional conferences because they service much smaller areas. I go to both. I actually go to both large conferences like PyCon, sometimes DjangoCon, and I go to a lot of regional conferences. I've gone to PyTennessee, PyGotham, PyOhio, PyCon Pune, which is in India. Um, oh, and I'm probably forgetting a few, but basically, I've gone to a lot of regional conferences, and I adore regional conferences. I actually tend to look forward to them a lot more than I do the big conferences, and this is no shade on the big conferences, but there's some things about the conferences that I really like, regional conferences that I really enjoy. So something that sometimes people tell me is that they don't go to the regional conferences because they think that the talks are going to be worse or more amateur, and I have never found that to be the case. If anything, some of the most innovative and amazing and life-changing talks that I have watched in the past few years have started at regional conferences. And there wasn't the seed. Like I first saw the talk at PyOhio or PyTennessee. And, you know, and I was blown away by them because I was like, these are amazing talks. And, they are, and I ended up seeing them later on. Like they ended up keynoting at like PyCon and, other larger conferences. So you don't see lesser talks, you see amazing talks by amazing people because guess what? People who do Python live all over the world and they tend to like to go to their regional conference if they can, if they have one. So that's what they'll do. They'll go there and it's all these great Python and programming people will go to them. One thing I really like about them is they're very intimate because literally many times the locations are just smaller. So they're on, a college campus, but they're only in like a few rooms in the student union. Or they're at another college, but they're only in a few rooms, like in a part of that college. This is versus PyCon, which is often in a huge sprawling complex because it is a lot of people. It's over 3,000 people. You need a lot of space. But I've been to conferences like I've been to PyCon and I've people have gone there and they're like, we never saw you there. And I'm like, oh my God, I never saw you there because it was so huge. You could not run into huge chunks of people. That doesn't happen at these small regional conferences because you're all kind of in one small enclosed area that kind of feeds into itself. So you get to really see people and sit down with them. And also because these are smaller conferences, it's easier to have these kind of smaller conversations where you're sitting there and you're talking and you get into groups. They always feel like people are just talking more during them and interacting in a more low-key manner. Whereas with the larger conferences, there's so much to do. People are always kind of running back and forth and trying to optimize their time. So, and they're also cheaper. I won't lie. I kind of like them for that. Often the ticket prices are cheaper. Like PyOhio, I think, is free. Um, and I know that PyTennessee's like early bird ticket was crazy cheap. And so they're not as expensive as the tickets you would buy for like PyCon, DjangoCon, that kind of stuff. But also, this is actually the bigger cost savings is that it's not over as many days. Most of these run over the weekend. So they are literally just Saturday, Sunday conferences. So you fly, you get in on a Friday, you leave on a Monday. It's a lot cheaper. And I actually run the numbers on conferences because I have to I self-fund a lot of my conferences, and I kind of have to justify to myself, like I'm going to spend, $2,000 to go to this conference. Is it worth it to me? And so they are a lot cheaper, you know, to go. You're also not buying as many meals. You're not. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Um, some of the drawbacks, there are drawbacks. Everything is drawbacks. Um, They don't always have sprints. Most of the ones that I've attended have not had sprints. PyCon Pune did have sprints, but it was also servicing a much larger area. They often don't have tutorials, or if they have tutorials, they're wrapped into the conference, so it's kind of like 2 talk slots instead of 1. So some people really enjoy sprints and they really enjoy tutorials, and that's what they go for, or that's how they like tutorials are how they justify going to their work. They don't have that. Not everybody is a fan of the fact that it's only 2 days, but to be honest, usually those 2 days are packed with talks versus like there's no expo hall for a lot of them, which eats like a half a day of PyCon. So they kind of balance. But it's only 2 days, and some people can't justify going out, like flying out, to a conference. That is, if you're flying out. I fly to these conferences because there is no regional for me in DC. Because nobody in DC feels like organizing it, and that includes me. Um, so there are drawbacks to it. They are also not always convenient to public transportation. Pi Gotham, which is in New York City, is excluded from this because it's New York City. But Pi Ohio and Pi Tennessee, there really isn't any public transit to speak of. Not like I'm used to. I'm sure there's something out there that I've missed, like the bus schedules or something, but there really isn't the same kind of thing. When I go to Pi Tennessee and Pi Ohio, I rent a car because I just get tired of I get tired of cabs. Um, so I rent a car, and that is an extra expense. For me, it's worth it. And I usually get, some little tiny toy car that's not that expensive. But, even with those downsides, I still love going to regional conferences because of the intimacy, because they're small, because they are so focused that it's just a weekend. And it's a smaller community, and it feels more homey to me. Going to PyCon is kind of like going to, the carnival where it's huge and there's tons of stuff going on and it's kind of sensory overload. Whereas like Pi Ohio and Pi Tennessee, because those are the conferences that start and end my conference season, they're kind of like this really nice, quiet, fun, but just really, nice way to start and end, my conference going time. So that is all I have today. I hope that you consider looking into, going to a regional conference, whether you can just drive to one that's nearby. I even make the case that, it's often even worth going ahead and getting a hotel. And getting a hotel for a few days, since it's only really like you can get away with like 2 nights if you really want to. Um, but yeah, that's all I have to say, and I hope to see you at a future regional conference. And I hope you all have a great day, and if you have any comments or questions, hit me up in the comments or track me down on Twitter. Bye!